Big day and welcome to another edition of the RDFNL Footy Show. My name's Yeendy, excited to be with you as always. I'm here with Tara Murray from the Star Weekly. Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for having me again.
And this week we are looking back on the past round in the RDFNL, and we'll go straight off the rank with the biggest upset of the season to date. It was over at Romsey Park. Romsey beating Diggers Rest by one solitary goal.
It was good. I've been one who's been wanting an upset. We had Rockbank over Lancefield. I think the margin of that one surprised a lot of people, but not necessarily the result. So it's good to finally have a true upset after these first few rounds. Everything's sort of been predictable.
Yep.
But to have a margin like that, obviously it looks like it was very low scoring. So I'm not 100% sure what the conditions were like. I know there was a bit of rain all down the road at Riddle. There was a bit there. So I'm assuming it would have been wet at Romsey as well. But you've got to hand it to Romsey. They took it up to Sunbury Kangaroos in round one and could sort of only play it for the three quarters. They could have quite easily given up the lead they had at three-quarter time, but they managed to hold on and get that win by a goal.
I think they're underestimating a few around the competition, aren't they?
They are. I think Romsey's very surprising. Obviously, we knew they were going to have improvement, but to see them beat Diggers Rest like that, I don't think many people predicted that. Probably
the loss that Diggers Rest needed to have so they get the monkey off the back, and then they start to slip into, I guess, the same quality or level as the other teams.
Will be interesting because Diggers Rest obviously they've got wins in those first three rounds, but they haven't been great, because I know I spoke to Sean Sims and he said they sort of only really played a quarter against Woodend, a half against Riddle, and probably 2 and a bit quarters against Sunbury Kangaroos. So they haven't been playing brilliant football, but they've been getting the wins. So this is sort of might bring them go, okay, yep, we need to refocus. What do we need to do to step up? And especially if they are going to have to play in wet conditions like that at other grounds, it's something they need to be aware of.
And they're not the fastest starters in the competition anyway. They've while they've got wins on the board, they haven't been overly impressive over the journey. So, and Romsey probably the need that they needed to throw them straight back into top 6 contention.
I think, and it gives Romsey confidence that they can match it with those top sides. Yes, they're beating the sides that are below them on the ladder, but to match it with one of those top sides, you look at it, they've beaten Diggers Rest. They could have quite easily beaten Sunbury Kangaroos as well. So they're showing that they are a top 6 contender.
The game that we were at over the weekend, Macedon big winners over Riddle by 103 points. The margin, I guess, sort of got away in the last 20 minutes where the Bombers kicked 10 unanswered goals to run away with that contest. A couple of injury concerns there for Riddle, including Ben Sonigan.
It is, and I think it was the Cats who kicked 10 unanswered goals.
So,
the Bombers.
Yeah. I'm just used to the mighty red and black because they're flying at the moment.
Yeah, so obviously with that, Ben Sonigan, first clash of the day, goes off injured, leg injury, ended up in hospital. So that doesn't help the Bombers when you've got a very young side and you lose one of your tall defenders in the first incident of the day. So they lost him. Scott Welsh finished on the bench a little bit sore as well. So wasn't a good day for Bombers. Obviously 103 points, but you and I were both there. We didn't think it was a 100-point margin at all.
And I think most people there on the day would think so as well. The Cats got a few late goals late in the game. I think they kicked 8 goals in the last 15 minutes or something like that. But you could tell the young Bombers, and especially without the rotation on the bench, they just tired. So the centre clearances, that's where most of the goals come from. Strong contested marks. It was fantastic to watch as a footy fan. But you could just tell that the game sort of got away from them a little bit late. Great to see Chris Kilmartin. He stepped up. He kicked 5 goals, had a blind over last quarter. Sean Harrison kicked a few special goals, but another player that probably didn't get the credit he deserved at the end of the day was Aaron Christensen, who played a really good sweeping role across half-back and through the midfield. We spoke to him after the game on Highlands FM, and he said he just enjoyed the opportunity to enjoy more game time, wasn't part of that rotation, able to play his natural game, and he won a lot of the balls as a benefit of that.
Yeah, and I think for the Cats, the most pleasing thing, they won in a different fashion. They'd been fast starters the first 3 weeks and not allowed many goals in the first quarter at all in those first 3 rounds. So they ended up doing it a different way. And speaking with Cats coach Jeff Andrews after the game, he said Riddle had been their toughest opponent they've faced this season. So it was something different for them. They responded well, and then in the end they had stronger legs and ran over the top of the Bombers.
Still an interesting stat though, the Cats went 20 goals in the first term throughout the year before the first goal was kicked, and that was from Tommy Alchemade. So they're currently 20 goals to 1 in the first term, which is great for them. If you're only as good as your last quarter, well, they kicked 12 goals or something like that in the last quarter on the weekend. So scary times ahead. But first win over the Bombers in 5 years. They did it in style. Another big win for Rupertswood. I guess interesting against the Hawks. They ended up winning that one by 70 points. But which way do you think the result sort of favours? Where's the story from there?
I think you've got to look at a little bit. Woodend would have been disappointed. They were goalless in the first half, only scored 2 goals for the match. That, in any state, no matter who you play, that's a disappointing result for the Hawks. Obviously, it wasn't a high-scoring day, even looking at the under-18s and the reserves matches, so I reckon it may have been difficult conditions down there, possibly a bit windy, as it can get down there at the Shark Tank.
Yep.
So Rupert's would have been happy to get that win. It was another big margin. It's another side that they have to beat. And yet again, they had that spread of goal kickers and all of that. So it was a good performance from Rupert's Wood. Woodend would have been disappointed with that.
Certainly very disappointed. Big congratulations, though, to the great man, Jimmy Hepburn, who played his 150th senior game for the Woodend Heska Football Netball Club. Of course, he's everyone's favourite player out on the field. He loves to have a chat, loves to have a yarn, and very well known. So one of the great characters of the competition. I've sort of grown up, I guess, watching Jimmy play and playing junior footy with him over the years. It's always great to see mates like that step up. Another big game, Sunbury Kangaroos got away over Lancefield in a big encounter at the Boardman Reserve.
No surprise there. That's what we were talking about that midweek, and you thought might have been a little bit closer last week, but wasn't surprised with the margin. I think Sunbury Kangaroos would have been pleased with the spread of goal kickers, something they'd struggled the first few weeks. They had 4 players kick 3 goals, so that's something they've been working on, and that's a step forward for the Kangaroos. And
good to see that spread of goal kickers as well, because previously Ryan Pretty had been a noted goal kicker for kicking most of the goals and leading the goal kicking for the competition.
It is, and he kicked 3 again, so he was still a target up there. But you have Phil Lobb kick 3, you had Ty Cuffey chip in with 3, a different option there as well. So it's showing that the Kangaroos do have those options, and now they're starting to find them, which is a key for them heading forward.
Wallen v Rockbank, just 1 quarter, split the game right open. That was in the second term, where the Pies, I think, kicked about 8 unanswered goals in that term. Rockbank were competitive for the remaining quarters.
It is, I think Wallen did what they had to do. As you said, they only had 1 really good quarter. Rockbank wanted to bounce back after a really disappointing performance against Rupert's Wood, and they did that. They weren't completely outclassed, and they were in the game for 3 quarters. Obviously, the margin blew out a little bit late as well, but it would be a very good performance from Rockbank, knowing we are stepping up a class, but we've been able to match it with them for a little bit longer.
Exactly right, and we've seen significant improvements from the Rams, and I think that was one of the things when I was watching the scores, going, well, who benefits from this? Like, Rockbank are improving, but we know Wallen are improving as well, and Wallen are a team to look out for this year.
And you've got to look at the margin. Obviously, it was a blowout round, the final round last year, but Wallen absolutely smashed Rockbank last year. Yeah. So in that final round, Wallen had a lot to play for because they wanted to play finals. Rockbank didn't have a lot. Mm-hmm. But you look at the difference, a lot closer, and that shows you how far Rockbank has come.
Exactly, and they'll only get better because pretty much Wallen are on track to play finals, so they gave a finals contender a good push. And great to see Lee Zibitnicki back out there for the Rams. He can kick great goals, win plenty of the ball. Exciting to see him run around. I think hopefully he's still wearing the number 17 again.
And I think he'll be a key for the Rams. If they can have him on the field every single week, he, as you said, provides a lot of run. And when he does, he can be one of the best players in the competition.
Oh, great to watch. Absolutely fantastic. The last game to look at, we saw Broadford challenged early before slipping away against Melton Centrals.
It is, and it was another good performance from Melton Centrals. As we said, they've been probably one of the surprise packets early. They have had a really good draw, but they're 3-1 and had chances against Romsey. So for this one, they kicked 6 goals straight in a row in that second quarter to take the lead, and then they even extended that in the third quarter, despite an interruption, because they did have a player taken from the field, and there was a 10-minute interruption. So for the young Central side, be able to respond and keep their mind on the track on the game was really, really well. And I spoke to Matt Sproul on the weekend, and he said they're improving every game. They've been really pleased with how they start the season. 3-1, had chances. Look, they know they've still got a lot of work to do, and they know it's not going to get any easier because they do have a harder draw coming up. So obviously their next match is against Sunbury Kangaroos. So for them, it's about now being able to match it with some of those higher ranked sides.
Well, you've got to learn how to win as a squad as well, and they've done that so far, which is great. Macedon sitting on top of the ladder, undefeated. They seem to be flying at the moment. Are they the team to beat in season 2017, or will we see them sort of drift down to the pack as the other teams improve?
I always said Macedon will be up there. Macedon, I expect Diggers to be up there as well. Diggers will take a little bit of time because they have had a lot of changes to their squad. So they're bringing in some players who have been in the reserves the last couple of years and the under 18s. So for them, they're sort of still growing. Macedon's jumped out of the blocks. At this stage, they've got that extra class I think that they've been lacking in the last couple of years. That extra class, that extra depth. As you look at their midfield rotation, they've got so many in that midfield that can also go back and go forward. You look, Dan Markworth, Matt Dick, both really good midfielders, but then they're dynamite forward when they had the opportunity as well. So early favourites, Macedon.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good at this stage. A few injuries could change that, but all clubs, hopefully they don't have to experience that. We'll change gears and have a brief look at what's happening this weekend. Obviously, we don't have the squads for the senior football team so far, but some interesting news. RDFNL are playing West Gippsland at Tony Clark Reserve, but the change or the team or the league of West Gippsland is unique and fresh to the interleague program.
It is. So they basically they looked at all the leagues down in the Gippsland area. I think there's 5 or 6 different ones that cover that, and looked where the best option was going forward. Sort of like a review they are doing of AFL Goldfields.
Yep.
They did one down in Gippsland. So West Gippsland Football League was created this year, and it's a combination of clubs from Allenbank and a league that the RDFL know well in Alberton. So the league's played Alberton twice in the last 3 years. So there will be some familiar faces in this West Gippsland League. Obviously, you've got Inverloch Colmac, who hosted last year's game.
Yep.
They're part of this new league. You've got Carramburra Beena, Phillip Island, Dalston and Kilcunda Bass, all Alberton football leagues that are part of this new team. Alberton clubs, that are part of this new league.
It is quite fascinating because it was only 12 months ago when this review was being conducted, and now the AFL Goldfields are doing something very similar. So hopefully for West Gippsland's sake, it seems to be the right result for them. But obviously quite new and refreshed. So they've really started to create a new league out of nothing. But West Gippsland Gippsland itself is just massive, as you know, being down that way. So
I do. Some of these clubs, I look at it. I grew up 10 minutes from Carramburra, 15 minutes from Inverloch. So I actually know a lot of these areas. I'm like, I know that area, I know that person, and all of that when you see the team list. So pretty familiar for me.
Very, very envious of those in Inverloch. It was great to get down there for Interleague and enjoy the beach down there as well. It's fantastic. But coming up later on in the week, we will catch up with the inside and what's happening ahead of this weekend. Tara, thanks so much for joining us this week. Looking back on round 4 on the RDFNL, we look forward to catching up with you next week.
Thanks for having me.